Welcome to Baby Boomer Tales. My name is Jim. Thank you for joining me today. You can access our webpage at babyboomertales.com. While you're there, you can click links to our Facebook page, to many places you can get our podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, to a patron page that if you choose to, you can help us keep Baby Boomer Tales commercial free. There's a link to our book that you can preview and buy if you wish. There's also a link to our YouTube channel where you can listen to our podcast and have closed captioning. In episode 55, I talked about my dog Maxie and how she had a day off, changed her whole way of life, and talked about what a good dog she was. But the one thing stuck with me was I spoke about the only trick she knew was how to go potty. She'd wait until I tell her to in the morning when I took her out. So on our special time at night, right before I go to bed and I put the dog up for the night, I started thinking, this dog's smarter than that. And I remember when she was young, she used to play fetch and I'd have her sit. So while I was sitting there petting her, having our time together, I said, Maxie, sit, and she sat. And so then I thought, well, you know, old Blue Dog and old Sandy, they used to shake with me when I'd say, we pals. So I said, Maxie, we pals. And she must be left-handed because she put out her left paw and we shook, and that's her new two tricks, is sit and we pals. I thought it was kind of pathetic to have a dog that the only trick it knew was how to go potty. So there you go. That's the latest update on my dog Maxie. I would like to explain our episode today just very briefly before we get started. We do a segment once in a while called Kate's General Store. The main character is Homer Cates. He and his wife own the general store. And it is set in 1977 now. Last year when we started it, it was set in 1976. And we did that for a reason, to play off of the technology and way things were at that time. So you can kind of compare the 21st century to 1977. This episode of Kate's General Store is set in the year 2020. It is actually set March 28th, 2020, so a few weeks ago. And I just want to take you there now. And like I always say, be kind to Homer. You might find what you need and more at Homer Kate's General Store. You might find what you need and more at Homer Kate's General Store. Hello, this is Homer Cates of Kate's General Store. I'm just sitting here on my front porch looking out over my parking lot, my gas pumps. We've got lights out there at night now, and the whole parking lot is paved. Nice awning over the pumps. I want to tell you about my story. It all started in 1976 when I started telling you little tales. I was 30 years old then, and so was my wife Katie. Well, in a couple weeks, May 14th, we'll both be 74. Time sure flies when you're having fun. Much has happened in the 44 years since I started my tales. Katie's dad, Pop, the man that was responsible for us even owning this place, after my dad died in that terrible, awful car crash, he became a father to me. Really, I think that's when Katie and I got married. In our hearts. I wasn't very old, 10 or 12, I can't remember. We just legally tied the knot years later. I'm better now, and a lot of that is because of Pop. He passed away in 1997. He was 84 years old. Pop was always my main man around here. Well, he married Mrs. Dumas in 1980, so they had 14 years of marriage bliss. She always put up with him hanging out there at Apple's Cafe. Mrs. Dumas is gone now. I always called her Mrs. Dumas even after she was my mother-in-law. My best friend in the world, Jerry, he's gone. He passed away in 1986. He is only 65 years old. After his dog Sparky died in 1985, and Sparky was an old dog. Sparky lived to be 17. Jerry told me he thought his time was coming. His wife Barbie had passed away in 1968, and he told me the only thing that ever really kept him going was Sparky. He loved that dog. Jerry was such a good friend of mine. He helped me in every way possible. He kept me kind of centered with some of my wild and crazy ideas, because of course I'd never listen to my wife. Katie may be the voice of reason, but Jerry was the compass. I sure miss that old guy. When they say a friend is a friend, I know who they're talking about. My best friend Jerry. He never had another girlfriend. He grieved, and then he got that puppy. And that dog and him just prattled around town, visiting and having fun. You know, that guy wrote 12 best-selling novels. You'd have never thought he had it in him, just knowing him like I did. Well, after Jerry passed, a lawyer contacted Katie and me and informed us that Jerry had left his estate to us. And I said, "Who's us, the United States?" And Katie gives me a elbow in the gut and says, "I'm sorry for my husband. Just try to ignore him when he gets that way." Well, old Jerry, who lived in a little house over on the other side of town here in some city, was worth quite a bit of money and has quite a bit coming in every month because of those books. So, Katie, what are we going to do with this? So we prayed about it and talked about it, talked with Kitty about it, and we set up a non-profit charitable organization called Paws and Vets. And what that is it helps with shelter for animals and also for housing for our United States military veterans. Get it? Paws for the animals and vets for our brave men and women that keeps us safe in this country. Katie is the head of the organization, and you know how smart she is. It keeps her pretty busy. Some City has changed since 1976 quite a bit. In 1968, when we moved here, it had 300 people. 1976, it had 300 people. Well, today it has 3,000 people. It has really grown. Wheattown down the road has so many more. It feels like a city to me anymore. Speaking of cities, one time when we went on vacation, we stopped in Kansas City and had us some barbecue. And I thought, "Katie, will you taste this sauce?" And she did. And I said, "This is not ketchup, Katie." And she looked at me like I'd lost my mind or something. Anyway, when we got home from vacation, I was all over that barbecue stuff. And I worked and I invented a brand new barbecue sauce. Yes, I did. And it is really good. And I have a regular and I have a supercharged. And the name of it is Thunder. And you know what? People like my barbecue sauce. Over the years, our little store, it was getting harder and harder to make a living there. The big old supermarkets down there in Wheattown. And I was buying smokers and smoking meat and making my sauce and selling our sauce. Well, to make a very long story short, Kate's General Store is no longer a general store. It is a barbecue restaurant. We only have 5 items on the menu, and people come from all over. There isn't a day goes by that the line doesn't go clear outside. We have pork ribs. You buy them by the full slab only, that we wrap in aluminum foil and then wrap in paper. And on the paper, every paper that everybody gets a slab of ribs, it'll have either a positive saying on there or a scripture from the Bible, every one of them. I'll also have my famous cowboy beans. Not that I'm a cowboy, but I'm sure not a cowgirl. Anyway, yeah. And we have coleslaw. It's Katie's specialty. Then we have a choice of 2 drinks. Grape knee-high or cheerwine, which is a sody pop also. And that's it. If you come in wanting a brisket sandwich, you're just out of luck. You got to go down to Wheattown and look at one of those places. All we do is the ribs. People tell us we're becoming famous. They're pretty good. I like them. Well, you know, a busy barbecue restaurant is really a lot of work, and Katie and I are around and we like to help. But Kitty and her husband Stephen, they run Kate's General Store anymore. And don't get me wrong, I don't want you to hear you calling it Kate's General Store Barbecue, because that's not the name. It is Kate's General Store. It's just a barbecue restaurant's all. We still have the potbelly stove inside. We still have the gas pumps outside. I even take credit cards now. In fact, they don't even allow me to have cash. We have this nice, wonderful covered front porch that I'm sitting here telling you all about this, with rocking chairs, easy place to hang out if you're eating or not. And our parking lot's all lit up now with nice big tall lights, and we still have hoedown dances in the parking lot in the summer. So the only thing that's changed is what we sell. I was getting tired of selling motor oil and toilet paper. You know, it's been kind of hard to get that toilet paper anyway. But we can get the ribs. We can. Well, Kitty blessed us with 3 grandchildren, 2 boys and a girl. And they have blessed us so far with 2 great-grandchildren. It is a good life. It really is. There's a little park back in the field behind the store. And right where that old crash car was that I used to hit golf balls, Jerry and I used to hit golf balls at, well, there's a little shady spot with water and trees and grass and a little statue of Sparky. And it's dedicated to dogs and cats and soldiers and sailors. It's been a good life, and I expect to live to be at least 100. I hear you laughing, but that's okay. I take care of myself. I still go fishing, and I still play golf. I just can't go back there and shoot those golf balls at the crash car anymore. Katie made me take that away to the dump. I actually didn't take it away. I called a guy who knew some guy, and they came and got it. Well, just to tell you, we'll be back to 1977 here one of these days. Visit a little, maybe try to make you laugh, show you another one of my great inventions. Katie says hi. Thank you for visiting. This is Homer Cates. Oh, yeah. Remember to always be kind. Hasta la vista, baby.
Homer!
I'm coming, sunshine. Here I am, Katie girl.
Hi, Homer.
Sure do love you. I've missed you. How you doing? Where you been?
Love you, Homer.
I love you too. I've just been here talking to some friends, telling them about the good old days, telling them about the barbecue restaurant, telling them how much I love you. Phew, I'm out of breath, man. Anyway, it's nice to have you around here. I didn't even know where you were at. Were you over at the park? Were you over at the nonprofit? Did you see Kitty? When are they going to open the restaurant? I've just been sitting here. Whew. Anyway, I think I caught my breath now. You know, it's a good life.